Morning, everyone. My name is Charles Sortwell. I'm the President and CEO of Northern Policy Institute. Thank you for attending the launch of our newest tool for communities, ConnectNORTH. ConnectNORTH brings Connect On to Northern Ontario. Connect On, of course, is a GIS-based tool for enhancing our understanding of supply chains, and we'll get into details of Connect On in a few minutes. But first, just a quick reminder about NPI. Northern Policy Institute is Northern Ontario's independent, evidence-driven think tank. We perform research, analyze data, and disseminate ideas. Our mission is to enhance Northern Ontario's capacity to take the lead position on socioeconomic policy that impacts our communities, our province, our country, and our world. We believe in partnership, collaboration, communication, and cooperation. Our team seeks to do inclusive research that involves broad engagement and delivers recommendations for specific, measurable action. Our success depends, of course, on our partnerships with other entities based in or passionate about Northern Ontario, like our friends who we'll talk about today. Our permanent offices are in Thunder Bay, Sudbury, and Kirkland Lake. During the summer months, of course, we also have satellite offices in other regions of Northern Ontario, staffed by teams of experienced North placements. These placements are university and college students working in your community on issues important to you and your neighbors. Experience North 2022 launches this next Monday, so watch for the details as they come out next week. Now, of course, we recognize and appreciate the historic connection that Indigenous people have to the regions where we live and work. We support their efforts to sustain and grow their nations. We also recognize the contributions that they have made in shaping and strengthening local communities, the province, and Canada. Thunder Bay is on our Robinson Superior Treaty Territory, and the land is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe and Fort William First Nation, my apologies. Sudbury is on the Robinson Huron Treaty Territory, and the land is the traditional territory of the Atakamaksheng Anishinaabe, as well as Wanapate First Nation. Kirkland Lake is on the Robinson Huron Treaty Territory, and the land is the traditional territory of Cree, Ojibwe, and Algonquin peoples. So what are we talking about today? Talking about ConnectNORTH. ConnectNORTH was made possible with the support of our founding partners, the Ontario Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs, North Superior Workforce Planning Board, and the Northern Ontario Farm Innovation Alliance. Together, these northern organizations have worked closely with the Golden Horseshoe Food and Farming Alliance to extend their tool, Connect On, to all of the regions of Northern Ontario. In a moment, I'm going to turn it over to our partners to share a few words about the ConnectNORTH project. But first, I'd like to make a note that our partners from OMAFRA are unable to participate as their presence and communications have been restricted due to, I think there's an election on the 2nd of June. So totally understandable. That being said, me and my team do want to make a specific shout out to Barry Potter. Barry has been an active whisperer in NPI's ear about agriculture issues since our very first State of the North event in Timmins. Oh, it must be 7 years ago now. Barry, of course, was critical in making the connections and introductions that led to this project and this launch today. And we want to thank him for his support and his input throughout the development phase. I'd now like to invite Emily Seed, Executive Director of NOFIA, to share a few words.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Emily Seed. I am the Executive Director for the Northern Ontario Farm Innovation Alliance. NOFIA is a not-for-profit organization that works to advance agriculture across Northern Ontario through applied agricultural research and innovation projects. Everything from working with primary producers on the ground to looking at the broader industry issues. We are really excited to have partnered with Northern Policy Institute and OMAFRA to bring this ConnectNORTH initiative forward, and we really feel that the data collected through this initiative and this tool will be invaluable in future growth and development within the agri-food industry across the North, helping us to better understand what we have in the North in terms of assets, and being able to analyze gaps and opportunities within that is incredibly valuable. And we're looking forward to seeing how this tool helps to further this sector. So thank you.
Thanks, Emily. We really appreciated the support of NOFIA coming on board and bringing the expertise of the group to this launch. We did have time set aside for Madge Richardson from North Superior Workforce Planning Board, but it does not appear that Madge was able to join us this morning. So we'll thank NSWPB for stepping up Of course, their mandate is to understand and expand labor market information and the functioning of labor markets. And so by enhancing tools like this one to improve supply chains, expand supply chains, and create even more opportunities for workers, it's a nice fit for them as well. Oh, there's Madge now. Do you want to say a few words, Madge? You can just type no if you want. Okay, moving right along. We're moved to our friends from Madge's audio is not working. The joys of technology, everybody. We'll try and catch you the next time, Madge. Hopefully I did a decent job for you for North Superior Workforce Planning Board. In any event, I'd like now to invite Nicole Winter to share a few words. Nicole is representing the Golden Horseshoe Food and Farming Alliance, the organization, of course, that developed the ConnectOn platform. She's also the data project manager for ConnectOn, which means, of course, that for those of you who elect to join ConnectNORTH and use the ConnectOn tool in the coming years, you basically will be realizing the fruits of mostly Nicole's labor. Over to you, Nicole.
Wow, thank you so much, Charles. What an amazing introduction. Good morning, everyone. And thank you so much for taking time out of your day this morning to hear about the exciting tool that we have here. So I'm just going to give sort of a background about sort of what ConnectOn is, sort of the background of the project, and sort of take us up to date to now. So in 2014 and 2015, ConnectOn began as an agri-food asset mapping initiative led by the Golden Horseshoe Food and Farming Alliance to build a robust regional database in the Golden Horseshoe. And so the project started as a pilot in 2015 involving the Golden Horseshoe municipalities. And through 2015 and 2016, ConnectOn was further expanded to include the Greater Golden Horseshoe and Eastern Ontario. And we also added another sector, which was the manufacturing sector. From the project's inception, ConnectOn has really been guided by a steering committee made up of economic development and planning staff. And in 2017 and 2018, the development towards a common approach to data collection, data query, mapping, and related economic tools emerged. And then in 2019, that's when the ConnectOn brand was born. So we created a name, a logo, a tagline, and a public-facing website. In 2020, ConnectOn focused efforts to refresh data with their existing ConnectOn partners in the Golden Horseshoe. Meanwhile, expansion to new geographic areas and partnerships were also in the works. I want to highlight that ConnectOn is based on strong partnerships and supports regional collaboration. And in 2021, ConnectOn was involved in two major projects, one with the Western Ontario Wardens Caucus and the second with Northern Policy Institute. The first project was mapping in Western Ontario, where we mapped 10 new areas and updated data for 5 areas who were existing partners. Our second project was mapping Northern Ontario, where we added 17 new areas to the ConnectOn map. In conjunction with the Northern Ontario project, we completed a pilot project to add a third sector to ConnectOn, which was tourism. And through this work, we developed partnerships with Indigenous Tourism Ontario and Destination Northern Ontario. And as a result of that pilot, over 3,500 tourism assets were mapped on the platform for Northern users. Speaking on just a bit of the success that we've had in Southern Ontario, we have over 100,000 assets mapped to date and in ConnectOn, and we have 227 users who utilize ConnectOn for economic development, planning, emergency preparedness and response, and project support as well. More specifically, these initiatives include business retention and expansion projects, value chain analysis, investment attraction, capital improvement projects, awareness, marketing, and communication. I do encourage you to visit connecton.ca to see an extensive list of how ConnectOn is being used. You can go to the next slide. Perfect, thank you. So the last thing I'll just say by wrapping up is I'll speak to our goals for the Northern Ontario expansion. So we're very excited to see strong engagement across all districts and cities. And building on the success of the Northern Ontario project, we're excited to see more data continue to be added to the platform across all 3 sectors. There's also a potential to add other sectors that are key economic drivers in the North as well. And we look forward to seeing how Northern Ontario uses the platform to support investment, business retention, and growth in Northern Ontario. This is sort of the piece that we get the most excited about. It's very exciting to see all the data mapped, but the use cases of how our partners are using it is really what we look forward to. Lastly, I just wanted to say that we're very excited for our continued partnership with the Northern Policy Institute and our founding partners of the project as we work together to grow Connect North. Thank you so much for your time again today and for the opportunity to speak on this. Back to you, Charles.
Thank you, Nicole. And before we move on to a detailed explanation, I also want to add a thank you to Marilyn Bidgood and Janet Horner, who, of course, were critical in moving the idea from conception to delivery and bringing it to the stage of its public launch today. So I want to thank Nicole's colleagues for their role in making this happen. Next, of course, we have Holly Parsons, who will give us a brief introduction to how ConnectOn works. By the way, I'm stealing Holly's notes, and she had a note in front of her introducing Nicole that said last, but definitely not least. So I guess I'll cheat and use that for Holly. So last, but definitely not least, is Holly Parsons. So just to note that there's going to be a Q&A at the end of Holly's talk, and you can type your questions, of course, at any time in the Q&A chat at the bottom of your screen. For the purposes of Connect North, Holly, of course, is NPI's Nicole. Holly's a policy analyst with NPI based in our Sudbury office and is part of our growing human capacity team. She came to this project after it had already been started, and she made it her own. Working closely with Nicole and other partners, Holly ensured that the T's were crossed and I's were dotted on this expansion of ConnectOn into Northern Ontario. And now to talk to you a little bit about how it all works, over to you, Holly.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Thank you, Charles, for that introduction. And thank you, everyone, today for joining us on this very exciting day to launch this wonderful new economic development tool in Northern Ontario. So over the past few years, the COVID-19 pandemic has demonstrated yet again the gaps and weaknesses in Northern Ontario supply chains. Reducing those gaps and protecting against those weaknesses is an opportunity for economic growth and investment in Northern Ontario. But to act on that opportunity, we need reliable, up-to-date information about potential suppliers, customers, and partners in various industries in Northern Ontario. The ConnectOn platform is an effort to provide this information for 3 very important industries in Northern Ontario: agri-food, manufacturing, and tourism. ConnectNORTH is a subscription-based service that allows members to join the ConnectNORTH team at an affordable price. This group purchase plan reduces the cost for users to secure industry data in order to identify opportunities and gaps in their community, region, or all of Northern Ontario. ConnectNORTH is modeled after MPI's successful Northern Ontario Consortium, where MPI and its partners pay the subscription cost upfront and then defray that expense by recruiting member organizations who wish to access the data and data tools. More specifically, ConnectNORTH is a GIS-based supply chain mapping tool. To make the platform accessible and affordable to all, we decided to tier pricing for membership based on size or annual budget of the community or agency. So for small communities or agencies serving a population of 2,500 and under, or organizations with an annual budget below 250,000, the annual membership fee is $300 per year. And of course, this allows up to 2 users. For medium-sized communities or agencies serving populations between 2,500 and 10,000, or organizations with an annual budget above 250,000 and below 500,000, the annual membership fee is $600 per year, and that would allow up to 4 users in the organization to access the platform. Larger communities or agencies serving populations greater than 10,000 or organizations with an annual budget above 500,000, the annual cost would be $1,200 per year, and that would allow up to 8 users. To promote the collaboration and sharing of data, partners or data providers, so communities or agencies who provide us with a data set to upload to the ConnectOn map, no cash contributions are required, and that would allow up to 5 users to access the platform. We've also made it as such that members who have an annual subscription to the NODC will receive a 5% annual discount on their ConnectOn membership. Of course, all memberships are for 12 months from the date of signing our user access agreement. Becoming a member organization is super easy with only 4 simple steps to follow. First, express your interest in becoming a member organization by visiting our website at northernpolicy.ca/ConnectNorth and clicking on the Contact Us to Become a Member button. Or you can simply email us directly at connectnorth@northernpolicy.ca. So whichever one works for you works for us. Secondly, organizations will need to sign our ConnectNORTH user access agreement. Then you will receive your login credentials. Just quickly, our user access agreement is simply in place to ensure member organizations are using the platform as it is intended, which is to roughly support economic growth and development in Northern Ontario, and that the data within the platform is protected by privacy rules and only available to member organizations. So this tool is not public facing. After signing the agreement, you'll receive your login credentials and you are able to explore the platform and use it in any way you wish over the next 12 months. I'll just make a quick note here to mention that data providers will be required to provide their data sets before they receive the login credentials for the obvious reasons. Once you have received your login credentials, you can access the ConnectOn platform by visiting the ConnectOn homepage at www.connecton.ca. Once you're on the homepage, you can enter your login credentials in the respected boxes that appear on the left-hand side of the screen. I should also let you know, you may wish to scroll down on the website and watch a short introduction video to the ConnectOn platform. As well, you can explore the testimonial and supported projects section of the website, where you can see how the platform has been used previously by member organizations. The ConnectNORTH tool can be used in a variety of ways to identify both private and public opportunities for investment. User examples include economic development planning, strategic and policy development, and emergency preparedness and response. To give you more tangible examples of how ConnectNORTH has been used in Northern Ontario, OMAFRA has recently used the ConnectNORTH tool to support 2 different projects. The first project, OMAFRA was using ConnectNORTH to show the need for large and medium-sized veterinarian clinics in Northern Ontario. And they did this by mapping large animal farms in each of the 11 districts of Northern Ontario, then overlaying veterinarian clinics in relation to these farms. The second project OMAFRA used ConnectNORTH for is to support the investment towards a new abattoir in North Bay, and that would just be support the beef production in that region. To date, the platform itself contains over 7,500 business assets in the 3 sectors I mentioned before, and we are very proud of this accomplishment. Importantly, entire supply chains are represented within these 3 industries. For example, you could look up iron ore mining assets, followed by iron and steel mill manufacturing assets, followed by hardware manufacturing, then general freight trucking to see the entire supply chain. To give you another example, you could also search for corn farming, followed by wet corn milling, tortilla manufacturing, to supermarkets and grocery stores to, again, observe the entire supply chain. Of course, to enable this sort of analysis, every single asset on the ConnectOn platform has been assigned a NAICS code. And for those of you who may not be familiar with NAICS code, that stands for the North American Identification Industry Classification System. And so all the assets on the map have been assigned a NAICS code. So how did we get all of those 7,500 assets mapped on the ConnectOn map? Well, we used a variety of different sources, including municipal data, so business directories from the municipality as well as from Chamber of Commerce. We've used third-party data. So for example, Destination Northern Ontario provided us with one of our largest data sets of around 300 assets. We also used open source data, such as the Trillium Network for Advanced Manufacturing and the University of Guelph Northern Ontario Farm Services map. We also used other government data from the Government of Canada and from Indigenous Business Directory. Of course, we used the OMAFRA farm and business registration data, as well as Indigenous data sources, such as Indigenous Tourism Ontario. So we use this patchwork of data from various different sources to pull together and encompass and make a quilt that encompasses all of Northern Ontario. And we are so delighted to have all this data together in one place for you. So to give you a glimpse of what the platform looks like once you've logged in, you are greeted by this lovely ConnectOn map here, as well as you've got the side menu on the left-hand side and the toolbox up at the top. The toolbox has various functions, such as the zoom in and zoom out. You've got an asset identifier, as well as a print screen and 2 drop-down menus, which I'll discuss in just a moment. The side menu gives you various options on how you'd like to filter assets on the map. And these are all very handy functions. So using the drop-down menu, the area drop-down menu that's circled here in yellow, users can choose to view and download assets by 11 northern regional districts and 6 separated cities. And those cities are Kenora, Thunder Bay, Sudbury, Sault Ste. Marie, and North Bay. To download data, you would start by choosing one regional northern district or separated city for which you're interested in and want to download the data from. Once you have chosen the region or city and the industry or industries you are interested in downloading, you would simply click the download button on the left-hand side and wait half a second for the query to download to pop up in the bottom left-hand side of your screen, and then double-click to open this in Excel. All the information we have regarding a particular asset will be displayed in the Excel sheet. So this includes information such as the business address, its NAICS code or codes, contact information, and much more. So any information that was given to us or that was found within the data set will be available in the Excel sheet. In the example you can see on the screen, we want to download all three industries, so tourism, agri-food, and manufacturing for the District of Thunder Bay. Importantly, in this example, we would be downloading all the data within the District of Thunder Bay minus the separated City of Thunder Bay. If, for example, we want information for all assets within the District of Thunder Bay, including the City of Thunder Bay, we would be required to complete two separate downloads, one for the district, and one for the City of Thunder Bay. We would then combine them manually in an Excel sheet. To give another example, if we wanted to download all assets within the Northwest Economic Region, we would be required to complete 5 separate downloads, one for the City of Kenora, one for the District of Kenora, one for the District of Rainy River, one for the City of Thunder Bay, and one for the District of Thunder Bay. And once again, we would manually combine all of this information into one Excel sheet so that we would have all assets within the Northwest Economic Region. Users can also choose to view data by other custom boundaries, such as economic regions, the Ontario tourism regions, like you can see on the map. On the map, we're showing the RTO 13A there on the right-hand side of Northeast Ontario. You will also notice 11 other custom boundaries in that drop-down box, excuse me. These are economic clusters from a paper that Charles Contens wrote for us and that MPI refers to quite often. And so similar to the pilot project of tourism, I believe this is the first time custom boundaries have been added to the ConnectOn platform. And that really shows you the versatility of this platform in that we can customize it and work with it to make it most useful to us. So importantly, I just want to mention that when viewing data from the custom boundaries, you are not able to download custom boundaries. And in fact, that function is only available for separated cities and the 11 northern regional districts. So the platform has tons of amazing features that I'm just going to touch on very briefly. So regardless of how you choose to view the data, users have the ability to filter data by industry using the sector pull-down menu that's circled at the top for the first image at the top there. Users can choose to view all industries, one industry, or any combination of the two. So for example, you may be interested in the District of Kenora to view both tourism and agri-food. You could also view manufacturing and agri-food, and then again, a combination of all three or only one. Users also have the ability to view data by geometry, so using either a circle or a box to filter assets in a particular area. For example, this function can be useful if you wanted to see all of the manufacturing assets within a 100-kilometer radius of Timmins. Users are also able to filter by NAICS code, of course. And you can filter by 1, 2, or as many NAICS code as you want to see the full supply chain, or perhaps you're just interested in viewing all of the restaurants, for example, in the region of Greater Sudbury. Users can also filter by asset name. And so using this function, I would just like to mention that in order to filter by asset name, it does have to match exactly to the name that was put into the data set. So it just needs to match exactly to be able to filter by asset name. But again, a super handy function on the ConnectOn platform. And once you have an asset, you're also able to use the asset identifier to click on that asset. And you can see a blurry chart surrounded by the yellow circle. And that in that box, it gives you different information about that asset. So for example, the asset name, the active or inactive status of that asset, business phone numbers, address, longitude and latitude, NAICS code, industry, municipal ID, and it also gives you a data source index. So it tells you where that asset, what sort of source it came from. And we have recently added Indigenous data source to that index. So that's just great to be able to see where that what source that asset came from. I just want to mention, although there's only one asset that we have clicked on here, so that asset is Totem Lodge, it will appear 4 times in the asset identifier chart, and that's because it will appear once for every NAICS code it has been assigned. So Totem Lodge has been assigned 4 NAICS code, so it'll appear in that chart 4 times. It does not mean that asset is there's 4 of them in that area. It just means that it has been assigned 4 different NAICS code. A really interesting platform feature is the infrastructure overlay. And this shows rail infrastructure, as well as airports, regional bus stations, post-secondary institutions, food terminals, tourist information centers, and the list goes on. In fact, there's 28 infrastructure overlays that you can apply to the ConnectOn map. And these are just wonderful features to have on the map. So what comes next for ConnectNORTH? Well, it is never complete. ConnectNORTH is constantly improving and evolving. So NPI will continue to monitor and update the existing data in the system to ensure accuracy and relevancy. And NPI will also continue to add new data sets as they are found. So we are always looking for new data sets to add to the map. And that being said, if you are aware of data sets, or if you are interested in becoming a data contributor, please contact us at ConnectNORTH@northernpolicy.ca. As well, if you are in an industry or interested in an industry outside of the 3, so outside of manufacturing, agri-food, and tourism, and again, please contact us at ConnectNORTH at Northern Policy Institute, and we will certainly look into adding more industries and more data sets. And in fact, I believe we are adding a data set almost as we speak. So that's the really great thing about this tool, is that we are constantly working with it and constantly improving it. And what you see today is really only the starting point for this platform. And it will just continue to get better and better as we work with more partners in Northern Ontario to add more data to the map. So looking ahead, we have a few very exciting things in the works. So we're working on developing a reporting dashboard. We're also completing additional system enhancements. So a top priority for 2022 for the Alliance and for 4DM is to review that infrastructure overlay map that I was talking about. So as I said, there are around 28 infrastructure overlays that can be added to the ConnectOn map. but we are going to review all of those overlays in the coming months and just decide which infrastructure overlays are our member organizations using. Are there others that they wish to apply? So for example, I have heard from some different organizations about adding a sort of internet connection overlay, so be able to see where we have high-speed internet in Northern Ontario and other areas that are lacking. And I think that's going to support a lot of projects in terms of technology. So for example, in the agri-food sector, I know they're looking to use different technologies to stay competitive in their field. And so applying an overlay such as internet connection could be very helpful there to support different projects. So that is really excited. We also are going to refresh the OMAFRA food and beverage processing data. And like I mentioned before, we want to expand industries to include expand more industries in the ConnectOn platform. And like I said, the tourism platform was a pilot project for Northern Ontario, and its success has sparked the Southern Ontario portion of the map to also include a tourism pilot project, to include tourism industries there. So very exciting. And like I said, we're definitely open if you're interested in an industry that's not currently on the map. We are very open to adding a new industry. We also want to create additional user resources. So currently on our website, we have an introduction video. We also have a resource that explains a bit of the history of ConnectOn, like Nicole was explaining earlier. And we also have a sort of question and answer booklet, but we would like to add other training materials such as a user guide. And of course, at MPI, we do all of our work in French and in English. So we are definitely working to make these resources bilingual. We are also looking to organize groups training sessions with the Alliance. And so as we get new member organizations, now that the project is launched, we're looking to schedule group training sessions so that new users can familiarize themselves with the platform. So very exciting stuff coming down the pipeline there. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. I'm going to move into a question and answer period, and I will invite Nicole Winter and Janet Horner to join me if they would like to answer some questions from our participants this morning.
And I will be answering the questions. So first of all, before we get the questions, I'm going to highlight a message here from Mr. Barry Potter. So encouraged to see this get launched. Well done, Holly, Rachel, and NPI, and Nicole and the Golden Horseshoe. Look forward to using it even more. Fabulous.
Thank you so much, Barry, for joining us as an observer. We are very thankful for all your hard work and advocacy for this project. So thank you, Barry.
All right. So first of all, first question is from LSPC. Does this data provided have to be peer reviewed? Can it be local data reports, or do we need raw data?
Nicole, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, let me know which. I'm happy to answer any
Sure.
questions. So, yes, so it typically comes from those 6 data sources that Holly showed on the screen. And so it can be local reports. So we get things like business directories, data from employment surveys, even business retention and expansion projects as well. So really what the data that we're looking for, we want it to be reliable. So we want it to come from, a business directory that, we know is a good data source, say from a municipality or an organization. And other like third-party data too we collect, and if it's from a trusted source, like we have data from Destination Northern Ontario and Indigenous Tourism Ontario as well. And so those are third parties, but they're coming from trusted sources who maintain those directories. There are, some online directories that I've, found just through trying to find some open source data, but looking at sort of who's maintaining it, how often, those kind of get filtered out because we do want reliable and accurate data. So yes, local data most definitely is welcome.
Thanks, Nicole. And I would just like to add as well, in terms of keeping the data reliable and up to date, I just want to reiterate that once the data goes into the platform, it doesn't just sit there and then, it's not touched for, a period of time. We're constantly looking to update that data, review that data, ensure that businesses that may have closed, for example, that those assets are removed from the map. So in that sense, we just want to make sure that all the data is really reliable and up to date in the platform.
Yeah, and I'll add to that in terms of that is a huge thing. We have the ability. If you're looking at ConnectOn now and you said, oh, that business there, that closed. Actually, we can do that, right now if we wanted to. So it is, as Holly said, accessible to be updating, removing assets, adding assets at any time. In terms of timelines on how often the data is updated, we encourage all of our partners across Ontario to do yearly updates and reviews of that data. So again, that's removing any closed businesses, updating information, and then adding any new businesses as well.
Mm-hmm. And so a big project, like I said, for this coming year would be to update all the OMAFRA farm business registry data. And so
it's the OMAFRA food and processing data that will be updated this year. Because we just, the farm business registration data that was last year that we just updated all of that. So that's a huge data source from OMAFRA that we get every 2 years from them. It's a very large data set, so it takes a while to get through. So that one in particular is refreshed every 2 years.
Fantastic. Thanks, Nicole.
Well, this kind of answered Louis-Philippe Desjardins' question of how often will the data be updated. So I think we consider that answered.
Continuously, I guess is what we should say. Continuously, we are continuously working to upload that data. And in fact, NPI has already committed some hours for this summer for different interns to look at this data and upload the data and make sure that everything stays up to date in the platform.
All right. So next I have a question from Leslie Byrne. How would new additions or corrections be made?
So this is done through a data upload template. So we have a standardized Excel file that we share to all of our partners, and the data template has numerous fields that you can add. So you really can add, whatever data that you're looking for. So it's really user-based ConnectOn. So, you could put revenue, say like sales and revenues in there if you wanted to, or business descriptions of the business that's in there. So there's quite a lot of information in there, but what it really comes down to is 12 mandatory fields in this template, along with all these sort of extra fields that you can have. And that's what's, this data upload template is what's used to update, add, remove assets from the platform. And so essentially you would log into the platform and upload this file to ConnectOn, and the system would take that and it would update, correct, and it'll give you back a results template where it lets you know that a record has been successfully updated or closed or added to the platform.
Mm-hmm. So in that sense, just to add on to that, in that sense, you can go in and upload update one single business asset. Alternatively, you could do a full re-upload of a data set. So you could go in and update a data set of over 1,000 if you so choose. Or you can, for example, if somebody says, this business asset has been closed last week, you could go in and just and update just that single asset. So it makes it easy to kind of adjust and keep things up to date.
All right. Next, is broadband infrastructure currently included in the data set? By Lynn Moreau.
So currently we have cell towers as an infrastructure overlay in the platform. As Holly mentioned, so we have 28 infrastructure layers that you can overlay. Not all of those are available in Northern Ontario yet. We're working on doing sort of a full review of these infrastructure overlays just to essentially assess what's being used, what's not being used, and what else can be added. So we have, even just from our project with MPI, we sort of have now a running list of infrastructure overlays that would be really beneficial in Northern Ontario and really across the province as well. So that's almost a mini project within itself, reviewing these overlays, going to our steering committee, making sure that they're reviewing that, they're approving all the different changes that we would make, and then it would be doing a update of all those infrastructure overlays as well. So broadband infrastructure is one of those that are on the list.
Top priority, top priority. We would love to see that, just because, as all of you know, connectivity issues in Northern Ontario is extensive, and so it would be really great to have a tool where we can analyze connectivity in relation to different supply chains. So we're very, very keen on getting that on the map.
All right, next I have a question here by Leslie Byrne. Could a sector of immigration resources be added?
Good question. So I'm wondering just some of the examples under that, but I would see that maybe depending on the number of NAICS codes, as Holly mentioned, the system is organized with NAICS codes. So every asset has a NAICS code assigned, or as Holly also exemplified, has multiple NAICS codes as well. So we'd have to look at the businesses that would be within that sector, but we could include, maybe it's not a immigration resources sector, but we could certainly include NAICS codes that would be that would contain businesses in that sector. So I'll jot that down, because we're always just trying to get an understanding of what those key sectors are for our users. Tourism was identified. I know in the chat someone mentioned forestry as well. So forestry isn't a standalone sector in ConnectNORD right now, but for example, it has NAICS codes that are covered under the manufacturing and agri-food sector. So there is some forestry data in there, but it doesn't show the entire forestry supply chain and the sector at large, but does show those intersections in the agri-food and manufacturing sectors. So I'll jot that down though.
And just to add on to that, I guess the short answer would be yes. I mean, we could, depending on whether, the NAICS code, almost any industry could be added. So it's definitely a possibility. And as Nicole said, we will definitely make a note of that.
All right, next we have Joel Motang. Are there plans for a publicly facing web page for tourism for people looking to have a holiday in Northern Ontario?
Very good question. So I guess the short answer would be, I don't want to say no, but it's kind of a no with an asterisk. So as Holly mentioned, the ConnectNORD platform is not public facing at all. You need login credentials in order to access the platform. This is really a key part of ConnectNORD, because it is a tool that is used by economic development, planning staff, and not something that's used for public use. A lot of the data sets, again, are coming from municipalities where they're perhaps not sharing their business directories, or perhaps information from an employment survey or something like that. Another key is the OMAFRA FBR data. So that's the Farm Business Registry data. That is not publicly available. So lots of data that really isn't publicly available. However, something that could be done is a derivative product. So you could create a tourism map using the ConnectOn data. For example, OMAFRA has a ag system portal, which is essentially, again, kind of a similar idea of asset mapping, and ConnectOn is used as a data source. So they've created this product that is public facing, uses some ConnectOn data, and I won't get into all the details on the use, but in the data sharing agreement that users sign to access the platform goes over all the uses of ConnectOn, that you can utilize that data and create a product like that, where you can use the ConnectOn data to create, a public facing product, as long as it sort of fits in within the data sharing and privacy within that agreement.
Also, I just got a message through the chat, through our chat here, that Northern Ontario Tourism, they just launched a new website, destinationnorthernontario.ca, which is a public-facing trip planning, vacation planning tool. So that would be the place to go for this.
Yes.
So next question is from James Parisi, Timmins Economic Development Corporation. How does this data differ from data offered by OMAFRA via the analyst program?
I believe the analyst, I don't have access to the analyst program, so I don't know how much I can speak to the analyst program, but I think the analyst program is more, it's, I don't have access to it, so I'm not sure of all the data that is in, but I can take down your contact information and can look into that. Holly, do you have any experience with analysts?
I'm in the same boat as you. I'm just wondering, I saw Janet pop in. I just wondered if she wanted to say something on this, or if she's just joining us for the rest of the session. Oh, Janet, you're on mute.
Sorry. I think Carolyn has an answer to this, if Carolyn can say anything.
Yeah, I'll read what she said in the chat. Carolyn in the chat said, in analyst, you could look at the number of jobs within a sector, but you would know what business had those jobs. Does that make sense?
Yes,
oh, okay.
but I will definitely follow up on this question.
We'll follow up with you, James. Would not know. Sorry, would not know.
Yes,
so you know the amount of jobs, but you don't know which one has which company has the job.
Yeah, from my understanding, I think it's more general information, as Carolyn's saying. So you can look at sort of, the number of jobs within a sector, but not in that granular sense of ConnectOn. You can see each individual business. And then you could also look at, okay, how many businesses are in ConnectOn with this NAICS code. And then you go, okay, there's, 200 businesses with this NAICS code, or there's this many cattle farms in this area.
Right.
Oh, perfect. And Carolyn has a link here as well. Thank you,
right.
Carolyn.
Next, Louis-Philippe Desjardins. Is there or could there be a bilingual /francophone tag on the business profile?
That's a really great suggestion. Like I mentioned earlier, we at MPI like to do all of our work in English and in French. And so we do want to make this platform more accessible to our Francophone partners. And so that's something I believe, Nicole, correct me if I'm wrong, that we could discuss with 4DM possibly, to add as a system enhancement, but it's definitely a good idea, and I will definitely jot that down for something to explore further.
Right. Next, Lynn Maho. What is the minimum number of data sets required to join as a data contributor?
Thanks so much for that question. Right now, we haven't set a solid number, although we are thinking around a data set of 50 or more to become a data provider. Of course, we can discuss this further, depending on perhaps the quality or type of data set. We may be able to make some adjustments to this, but I think we're thinking around 50 and above. Nicole, do you have any insight on that?
On our side, we don't have a minimum number, but because NPI is sort of, I guess, the funnel for Northern Ontario, and so Northern Ontario users would be signing the agreement with NPI. And so that's if NPI has, because you're setting the prices, then and well, for data contributors, you don't need to contribute money to the project. So if there is a minimum, I think, Holly, that's that's absolutely fine. Again, it's sort of a this is a collaborative project, right? So it's very much a how can we work together? You have data, let's add that to the platform, and in turn you get access to the platform. So on our side, we don't have a minimum requirement for data sets. However, if NPI would like to, again, just trying to foster that collaborative relationship, then at least 50 assets, say, whatever that collaboration sort of needs, really as many data sets as we can get to make it just more robust and really exemplify those supply chains.
Yeah, and like I said, that's why we can be flexible. We really, as Nicole said, we really do want to make this a collaborative project with many different organizations in Northern Ontario, and build this tool together, for Northern Ontario and for all of us to use and promote economic development and sustainability in Northern Ontario. So we can definitely discuss that, with you, with organizations who are interested in becoming data providers.
Right. Next, we have a question here from an anonymous attendee. Can I visit the website as a guest to check it out, kind of like a demo mode? And I don't think that's the case at the moment. We're not set up for that.
You can visit the website, of course, is public, and you can access it again by visiting www.connecton.ca. You're not able to enter the platform as a guest, unfortunately, the ConnectOn platform, and that's due to privacy concerns around the data that we have in there. We have some organizations who do not wish to share their data publicly, and so in that sense, you're not able to log into the platform itself as a guest. You can visit the website. You can watch the introduction video that kind of takes you through the platform, shows you the different functions of the platform. But like I said, in terms of actually accessing the platform, that's for members only.
I'll also add if Holly mentioned the ConnectOn website. So if you go check out our website, and then if you scroll down, there's an introduction video, and within the introduction video, I don't know what part of what minute of the video it's at, but somewhere sort of in the middle-ish of that video is a demonstration of ConnectOn. So you can kind of get a little window into actually seeing the platform. There's some examples of just the different tools and features in ConnectOn. So I encourage you to take a look there if you kind of want to have a peek at sort of what it looks like, what you can do. Holly exemplified that very well through all those screenshots. But if you want to see sort of like a video on it, I'd encourage you to check out that introduction video.
All right. Next, another question by James Parisi. Can the data be used by private users / for business development? For example, can a business find potential clients, aka a contact list, via this platform?
No, so we don't, the platform cannot be used for any solicitation purposes. again, it's very much used for economic development, for that emergency preparedness, for response. Really a lot of our users are the municipalities and cities in Ontario. Of course, we have other organizations as well that are focused on economic development in those areas. But you could use, say, the data to create a business directory or help update your business directory in your area. But in terms of creating a contact lists to reach out to people, that one of the sort of exclusions that ConnectNORD can be used for, as per those data sharing agreements that all users sign.
And of course, that is outlined in our Northern Ontario data sharing agreement. And so if you were curious about, the different ways that you are and are not able to use the platform, of course, you can read that in the data sharing agreement. And so, yeah, like Nicole said, and like I mentioned roughly in the PowerPoint, it is for economic development, like Nicole said. So unfortunately, that would not align with the goals of the platform, the objectives of the platform.
All right, next I have a question here from Green JE1. Good morning, thanks for this great resource. I may have missed this, but checking if RICS are included in the infrastructure overlay.
RICS.
But not familiar with that short form. What does that, what's that stand for? RC.
Regional innovation centers.
So no, I don't believe that, Nicole, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe that's in the infrastructure overlay. Although, I will definitely write that down because again, that is a top priority as a system enhancement. So, if anybody else would also like to see that, please put that into the chat. And it's something we can definitely bring to the steering committee to see if we can add into the infrastructure overlay.
All right, and one final question. Pradeep Kumar, you did mention that the platform can be used for supply chain analysis. Do the data sets have that information too?
So I guess it would, what information would that be, I suppose, in particular? So I guess a lot of the
I would assume like purchases between companies, or purchase relationships between companies.
Okay. So we don't have a field that lists businesses that, I guess, business A and their information in ConnectOn. We don't have a field that says, what businesses do you do business with? I'm trying to think if that information could be added somewhere in one of the fields. So the mandatory fields, we have 12 of them. NAICS codes is one of those mandatory fields. In addition to that, again, there's all these discretionary fields that you could add and that you could use for analysis as well. It just depends if the data contributor, if the data provider captured all of those, and if the data set even had that information to begin with. So definitely, I'd say the tool can be used for supply chain analysis. I guess it would just depend what fields you're looking for to include in that analysis. Excuse me, and if that information was included by the data provider.
Just a note on that is we don't typically go out looking for information. We use the information that's provided to us in the data set. So, if that information was provided, like Nicole said, we could possibly, make a new column for that and share that data. But to date, that information has not been shared with us in any previous data sets. So, that's something that we've not looked into, but it's something that we can look into.
Right. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody, for showing up to our launch event. We're very excited about this product, and we hope that you're excited about using it as well. And hope you have a really great.
Thank you, Martin. And I just want to, again, thank Nicole for all the work that you did on helping us expand this to Northern Ontario. You've been great to work with as well. Janet and Marilyn, who is unable to join us today, thank you so much. It's been absolutely fantastic collaborating with you, and we are very, very excited to see, how this project can expand and grow in Northern Ontario, and what other industries we can add to the map, and just where we can take it. So we're really excited for the future of this project. And thank you everyone for joining us this morning.